Today, I want to talk to you about something powerful, something that can shape your future, focus your energy, and turn dreams into reality. That power lies in three simple words: write your vision. We all have dreams, ideas of what we want our lives to look like, goals we want to achieve, people we want to become. But a dream left in your mind is just that, a dream. The moment you write it down, it becomes a vision. A vision is a map. In a world filled with distractions, responsibilities, and constant noise, clarity is more than just a luxury. It's a necessity. Imagine trying to navigate a new city without a map or GPS. You might eventually get somewhere, but chances are you'll waste time, take wrong turns, and feel frustrated along the way. That's exactly what life can feel like when you don't have a clear vision. When you write your vision, you take vague hopes and transform them into focused intention. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, you define what success actually looks like for you. Does it mean owning your own business, creating art, leading a team, traveling the world, supporting your family? The clearer you are about your goals, the easier it becomes to chart a path toward them. Clarity strips away the ambiguity and helps you see the difference between opportunities and distractions. Without clarity, you might say yes to things that look good on the surface, but don't move you closer to your vision. But when your goals are clearly defined and written down, decision-making becomes more purposeful. Every yes and no starts to align with your ultimate destination. It also fuels consistency. People often lose motivation because they're unsure what they're working toward. But when you have a written vision, you wake up with a sense of purpose. You stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. You stop chasing everything and start chasing the right things. Clarity is also a powerful filter. It allows you to evaluate your habits, your relationships, and your environment through the lens of your goals. Does this action support my vision? Does this relationship energize or drain me? Is this choice moving me forward or holding me back? And beyond your actions, clarity affects your mindset. It strengthens your mental focus, reduces overwhelm, and replaces confusion with confidence. When you write your vision with precision, you begin to internalize it. It becomes more than just a goal. It becomes your compass, guiding your thoughts, decisions, and steps. Words are not just sounds or scribbles on a page. They are creative tools that shape how we see the world, how we see ourselves, and ultimately, how we live our lives. From the very beginning of time, words have carried weight. Entire movements have started because someone dared to speak or write what others were only thinking. That's the power of language. It moves people, it defines realities, and it manifests visions. When you write your vision, you're not simply making a to-do list or journaling your thoughts. You're declaring something deeper, a belief in what is possible. You're taking the unseen, your hopes, your goals, your purpose, and giving it form. You're moving your vision from the internal world of your imagination into the external world of action. Words organize chaos. Inside our minds, thoughts swirl around, sometimes clear, sometimes confusing. But when you write things down, when you choose specific words to describe your future, you're taking control of your narrative. You're no longer a passive thinker. You're an active creator. Each word you write becomes a building block for the life you're constructing. And let's not forget, the words we use shape our identity. When you say, I might become an entrepreneur, it's different from saying, I am building a business. When you write, I want to be confident versus I am developing unshakable confidence, the tone shifts from doubt to determination. The language of your vision should reflect belief, intention, and power. Because how you describe your vision is how you start to believe in it. And how you believe in it is how you begin to live it. There's also something almost spiritual about writing your vision. It's like sending a message to your future self in the universe saying, I am ready, I am serious, I am committed. Writing it down makes it more real, more alive. It's no longer just wishful thinking. It becomes a contract with yourself. Even neuroscience backs this up. Studies show that writing down goals makes you significantly more likely to achieve them. Why? Because your brain starts to prioritize what's written. It begins to look for opportunities, filter decisions, and create pathways based on the words you've chosen to focus on. Motivation is a powerful force, but it doesn't come out of nowhere. It needs a spark, something to ignite it, something to feed it when times get tough. That spark is vision. When you take the time to write your vision, you create a personal source of fuel that drives you forward, especially when the journey gets difficult. We all have moments when energy runs low. Life throws curveballs, setbacks, failures, disappointments, even boredom. In those moments, motivation can feel like it's slipping through your fingers, but a clearly written vision acts like a reserve tank. It reminds you why you started, what you're aiming for, and what's waiting on the other side of your struggle. It's easy to be enthusiastic in the beginning, when the idea is fresh, when the excitement is high, when everything feels possible. But real motivation is measured not at the starting line, but during the long in-between stretches, when progress is slow and no one's clapping for you. That's when your vision becomes vital. It's your internal cheerleader, your anchor, your reason to keep showing up even when you don't feel like it. A written vision also gives purpose to your hard work. Without a vision, effort can feel meaningless. You may find yourself asking, what's the point of all this? But when you have a vision in front of you, when it's written out in your own words, with your own hopes and desires infused into it, even the small, repetitive tasks start to make sense. You're no longer just busy, you're building. Every step becomes part of a bigger picture, a picture you created. Your vision also personalizes your motivation. Instead of relying on outside praise or waiting for someone to push you, your drive becomes internal. It's not about what others think you should do. It's about what you have decided matters. That kind of motivation is deeper and more sustainable because it's tied to who you are and who you want to become. Vision connects your heart to your hustle. When you write it down, you bring emotion into the process. And emotion is one of the strongest motivators there is. You don't just work hard because you have to. You work hard because you want it because something inside you is burning to make that vision real. We live in the age of distraction. Notifications buzz, social media scrolls never end, and everyone seems to be in a hurry chasing something, but not always knowing what they're chasing. In this kind of world, focus has become a rare superpower, and writing your vision is one of the most powerful ways to develop and protect that superpower. When your vision is clear and written down, it becomes a filter for your attention. It helps you cut through the noise. Because let's face it, there will always be more things to do, more people to impress, more opportunities to chase. But not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every idea deserves your energy. Your vision is what helps you decide what deserves a yes and what requires a strong no. Distraction isn't just about being pulled toward meaningless things. Sometimes it's being pulled toward good things that aren't meant for you. That's why clarity alone isn't enough. You also need to focus, and you can't focus unless you know what you're focusing on. That's the job of a written vision, to keep you locked in on what really matters. It also helps eliminate decision fatigue. Without a clear vision, every choice feels overwhelming. Should I take this job? Should I say yes to this project? Should I invest time here or there? But when your vision is defined, decisions become simpler. Not always easier, but definitely clearer. You start making choices based on alignment, not pressure. You stop reacting and start responding with purpose. Focus is the key to deep work. In a distracted world, it's easy to jump from one thing to another, never really finishing, never really making progress. But when your vision is written down, you can return to it again and again. It reminds you of the bigger picture, of why you're investing time, why you're sacrificing temporary pleasures, why you're saying no to shortcuts. It roots you in discipline. It's also a way to reclaim your time. Time is one of our most valuable resources, but it's constantly under attack by other people's agendas, by endless entertainment, by fear of missing out. Your vision acts like a shield. It protects your time from being wasted on things that don't serve your purpose. When your eyes are locked on your vision, distractions become easier to ignore because they simply don't fit into the life you're building. And perhaps most importantly, focus gives you momentum. Small steps taken consistently in the same direction lead to big results. But if you're always distracted, switching goals, changing paths, starting over, you lose that momentum. Writing your vision gives you a direction to focus on. It's your North Star. It helps you stay the course, even when everything around you tries to pull you off track. One of the most satisfying feelings in life is the realization that you are no longer where you used to be, that you've grown, evolved, and moved forward. But how do you know how far you've come if you never documented where you started? That's one of the most powerful reasons to write your vision. It gives you a measurable starting point, a reference from which you can track your progress. Without a written vision, progress often goes unnoticed. You're so caught up in the day-to-day grind, always looking at how far you still have to go, that you forget to acknowledge how far you've already come. But when your vision is written out, you can look back at it months or even years later and see how your reality has shifted. What once felt like a distant dream may now be your new normal. That shift is powerful, and it deserves to be recognized. A written vision acts like a personal benchmark. It gives you a way to evaluate your growth over time. You can check in with it regularly, asking yourself, am I moving closer to what I said I wanted? Have my actions been aligned with my goals? Has anything changed in what I want and why? These questions spark self-awareness and intentional living. They help ensure that you're not just busy, but productive in a direction that matters to you. Tracking progress through your written vision also helps you adjust when necessary. Life isn't static. Circumstances change. Circumstances change. You grow, your interests evolve, and your understanding of what you want. Sharing your written vision with someone you trust can elevate this even further. When you allow someone else to see what you've committed to, you create external accountability. Suddenly, it's not just you who knows what you're aiming for. It's out there. And while that can feel intimidating, it can also be incredibly motivating. Not because you need to prove anything to others, but because you've invited support, encouragement, and even healthy pressure into your journey. Accountability doesn't mean perfection. It means staying connected to your goals, even when things don't go as planned. Your written vision becomes a tool for reflection. You can use it to check in with yourself when you feel off course, to assess what's working and what needs to change. It helps you stay honest with yourself. And honesty is the foundation of real growth. It also builds resilience. When you're accountable to something bigger than a passing emotion, when you're grounded in a written vision, you're more likely to push through resistance. Motivation may fluctuate, but accountability keeps you in the game. Wait. It reminds you that you made a promise to yourself, and that promise matters. On a deeper level, accountability through a written vision strengthens your integrity. It aligns your words with your actions, your desires with your discipline. You no longer you adjust your strategy, try something new, and keep moving. That kind of resilience is built on a deep connection to your why, and that connection starts with writing your vision. Your written vision becomes a source of brainstorming, planning, and innovation. It's the foundation for aligning your daily actions with your long-term goals. It challenges you to think critically about your priorities and how to navigate challenges creatively. In that way, it doesn't just inspire ideas, it turns those ideas into a system for real, intentional progress. Your vision isn't just about the future you want to create, it's about the person you are becoming along the way. When you write your vision, you're doing more than setting goals, you're affirming your identity. You're telling yourself who you believe you are capable of becoming, and that belief is foundational. Without belief, even the clearest plans can collapse. But when belief and vision walk hand in hand, you become unstoppable. Every time you write down what you want to achieve and why, you're reinforcing a narrative. You're telling a story, and at the center of that story is you. Not a version of you that's passive, uncertain, or stuck, but one that is bold, intentional, and evolving. That story shapes your identity. It rewires your self-image, replacing doubt with direction and fear with focus. This is especially powerful when your current reality doesn't yet reflect your vision. Because let's be honest, sometimes we don't feel like the person we're trying to become. We might feel unqualified, too late, too early, or not enough. But the act of writing your vision bridges the gap between who you are and who you want to be. It's a declaration that says, I may not be there yet, but I see it. I believe in it. I'm claiming it. That process builds inner confidence. You're no longer waiting for external validation. You're creating your own blueprint of success. You're deciding what matters to you, what success looks like on your terms, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. That sense of ownership over your identity is deeply empowering. It gives you permission to grow, evolve, and become. Writing your vision also helps dismantle limiting beliefs. So many of us have internal stories, sometimes inherited, sometimes self-imposed. Let's say we can't, we shouldn't, or we won't. But when you write your vision, you're choosing a different narrative. You're saying, yes, I can. Yes, I will. It's a mindset shift from scarcity to possibility, from insecurity to inner strength. Over time, your written vision becomes something you embody. It doesn't just sit on a piece of paper. It begins to live in how you speak, how you show up, how you make decisions. The more you revisit and refine it, the more aligned your outer world becomes with your inner world. Your identity starts to reflect your vision and not the other way around. And belief is contagious. When you walk in alignment with your vision, when your actions match your words, people notice. You inspire others not by preaching, but by embodying. Your belief becomes visible, and that energy spreads. It creates a ripple effect in your relationships, in your work, in your community. But that ripple begins within, and it begins with belief. And belief, in turn, begins with writing it down.